Guys, we're with Ott DeFoe here at the Making Bass Pro Shops, and he's, from what I've seen, a very good chatterbait fisherman. And I saw him in the pro pattern stuff, and personally, I want to learn about it. I'm sure a lot of you do as well. We're going to get into some of the finer points in his chatterbait fishing and some of the basic stuff as well to give you an idea of what you're getting into. First, what is a chatterbait that you like to fish the most?
It would have to be the original chatterbait. That was the first, and it's pretty much still the best. That's really my favorite one.
When there's a lot of weights you can pick for the sizes. What's your favorite all around? Just pick it up and just throw it around the bank size.
It would be either a 3/8 or half ounce, and I'll go with a 3/8 if I'm trying to fish a little bit shallower, or if I really need to fish it slower, and then a half ounce kind of the opposite if I'm wanting to fish it deeper or a little bit faster.
Now, personally, you have a lot of confidence in a swim jig, in a chatterbait. When would you pick that technique? Just overall over a spinnerbait or a swim jig?
Honestly, I've gotten to where I throw a spinnerbait a lot less anymore. I'll still throw one, especially around the shad spawn or pre-spawn time frame. I'll use them side by side. I'll use them both the same day, same conditions. But for me, a chatterbait it seems a little bit better overall. It's like it does better more times than a spinnerbait does, and I seem to catch a little bit bigger fish on average with a chatterbait than I do a spinnerbait anymore.
Is it a bait that you want? You can fish it a lot of different ways, but is it something you're going to keep above the fish, or you're going to try and get it bouncing on the bottom often?
I usually try to get it down, almost like a crankbait, and actually I'm wanting it to be down there, whether it's right on the bottom or really, really close to it. But I want to be bumping stuff throughout my retrieve, and a lot of times, especially on a rocky bottom or a rocky situation, I want it to be bumping those rocks.
And is that when you would choose, half ounce or more? Do they make them in 3/4?
They make a 5/8, but that half ounce usually does good then. I can fish a half ounce chatterbait 5 feet deep pretty easy.
What's the line, rod, and reel and choice that you generally fish with it?
For me, I use it on a 6-foot, 8-inch Fenwick Atos medium heavy action rod, and then a Revo, either MGX or MG Extreme 7.1 to 1, and either 15 or 17 pound trilene 100% fluorocarbon. Just depending on if I'm in a lake, it's got a lot of heavy cover, timber, grass, whatever, and a big fish, then I'm going to go with 17. But I like fluorocarbon. Some guys throw it on braid. I like just that little bit of extra give that fluorocarbon has over braid for a chatterbait.
Have you ever had any success flipping it and fishing it just like a jig, or like next to wood and stuff?
I usually don't. If I'm going to fish that, I'm going to do a jig in that situation. Now that's not to say I won't wind it across a log and stop it, let it fall, and then wind it again. But actually pitching it in there, letting it sink, hop it, letting it sink, hop it, I don't do that. It's a cast and retrieve type deal for me.
Trailers. There's a lot of different trailers, man. You can use a crawfish type thing. You can use a small swim bait. You can use a swimming fluke or something. How do you pick which one you're going to use? And maybe first, let's start out with what's your favorite one, the one you're going to pick up.
I use them all, honestly, but for me, it depends on what I think the fish are eating and the main forage that those fish are keying on. But my favorite all around is the Havoc Rocket Crawl, and it's just a twin-legged, crawdad type bait, and I don't bite any of it off. Most chatterbaits have a pretty long shank hook. That's like a 4-inch bait, and I'll slide it all the way up on the shank of that hook, and then those legs stick out beyond the skirt, and they're back there, and there's, it's got 2 legs, so you've got something on both sides, really flapping. Gives it a lot of action, and it gives it a lot of bulk, and it also allows you to still skip that bait really well. Some trailers are gonna hinder you pretty bad whenever you try to skip it. And that's what I use on any color chatterbait. But then other times, if the fish I feel like are really keyed in on bait fish, or if the water's clear, say you've got 2.5 or more feet of visibility, then I'll go with more of a slimmer profile, something with a little less bulk. Or if I'm fishing for probably smaller fish, then I'm going to go with something a little smaller and use like a Havoc Grass Pig or the Grass Pig Junior, something with a little paddle tail. Maybe that new beach shad from Havoc. That'll be a good chatterbait trailer as well if you want something a smaller, more bait fish style profile.
What are some maybe special modifications you're willing to share with us that you make to catch more fish, maybe land more fish?
The only things I do, I'll sharpen that hook a little bit with a Rapala file, hook sharpening file. But other than that, I don't do a lot. I will tie the skirt's arm or actually I have Andy Montgomery, me and him travel together. I usually have him tie the skirts on for me, and then he'll add a trailer keeper to it, and that just allows you to get more life out of your trailer and to make more efficient casts with it. You know, I like to skip that bait a lot, and if you're skipping it and your trailer's constantly sliding down, it's just a ruined cast anyway. So I like to add a trailer keeper and tie my skirt on.
All right. Do you like to fish the bait offshore, ledges and stuff?
I've tried it some. I've caught a few fish doing it that way, but it's not a key player for me. But it's definitely a way that it will work.
All right. Well, I think that's all we've covered. All we need to cover as far as chatterbaits. I think you're going to be a much better chatterbait fisherman after you watch this. And I've enjoyed everything you've had to say about it. And just make sure you get out there and you buy your Berkeley Havoc. What is it called again? Rocket Crawl. And get out there and get your Z-Man chatterbaits and get at them, man. Talk to you later.
All right. Thanks.